Wow, has it been a year already? Feels like just yesterday we were ringing in 2023 and I was left wondering what massive life-altering events will shake the world this year. And while there have been plenty of those events, it pleases me that we've at least been able to be a distraction to you all. One of the video types we do here the most in the recent year is the what if scenarios, where we take your suggestions, and a few of my own sometimes, and craft a whole story about it. A whole new world. A world I like to consider one of the billions of infinite Tsukiyomi dreams cast by Madara that night during the 4th Shinobi World War. And what's more, we're actually celebrating our 200th What If video. And so, in honor of these wonderful tales we've all crafted together, I'd like to rank my all-time favorite what ifs. Sit back and grab some popcorn. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you're subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Number 10. What if Kushina didn't die? In this story, we experienced a world where Kushina Uzumaki survived the events of Naruto's birth and was able to take care of him. She struggled with being a single mother to Naruto and further struggled with taking care of Sasuke when the Uchiha clan were all killed. This story would lead to Kushina investigating the cause of the Uchiha clan massacre, which put her at odds with the village's leadership, starting with Danzo and later with Hiruzen himself, the latter of which she came to believe was a coward for not standing up for the Uchiha and putting Danzo in his place. She had to do what the village might have considered treason by sneaking into the Hokage's residence and searching for the documents that proved that the Uchiha had been done dirty and that Itachi had been framed. But this led to confrontation in which Danzo took Naruto and Sasuke hostage. Kushina would be forced to come to a deal with Danzo to keep the children safe, but was double-crossed. However, before Danzo could kill them, Itachi himself showed up to protect his little brother, which led to a battle between Root and Itachi. Kushina, after protecting the children, would also fight alongside Itachi to defeat Danzo and Root. After defeating them, Kushina would leak the information to the village, who would enter an uproar over the state-sponsored destruction of the Uchiha clan, with fears abounding that each individual clan might be next. To that end, to maintain peace in the village, Hiruzen had to step down. Despite her reservations, Kushina was asked to replace him, being told that it was because of her connection to the late 4th Hokage, as well as her actions that put corruption out of the village and offered transparency for the whole ordeal. She should become next Hokage. From here, the story of Naruto found itself being told once again, but this time with Kushina being the 4th Hokage, having to navigate motherhood as well as the Hokage role. This video was a wonderful one to make. It was our first step into a form of what if closer to fan fiction than anything. After the previous videos, I had thought that a change of pace was necessary, but I won't lie, it was a little shaky as we produced this one. I was a little worried that it wouldn't go over so well with you guys, and that you wouldn't like this approach to a what if, but to my surprise, you absolutely loved it, which told me that I was fine to go hog wild with the stories and focus on a brand new narrative that instead expanded the Naruto universe as opposed to simply explaining it. This is what led to one of the most fun types of videos, which is why I'm a little sad that it's so low on the list. This is the foundation of everything we've experienced. But considering how many what ifs we've done so far, being about 200 in all, the fact that this video made it to number 10 is still a testament to how well the story has held up since release. Number 9. What if Minato didn't die? Similar to the name and tone to the previous video on our list is the story in which it was Minato Namikaze who survived the Nine Tails attack on the village, as opposed to Kushina. In this tale, Minato is willing to sacrifice his life to save Kushina, but in a moment of understanding, she realizes that it doesn't have to be that way. She guesses that Minato is afraid of living without her and is attempting to commit suicide so he can escape a life of sorrow, masking it all as a selfless act. And so she's the one who utilizes the Reaper Death Seal in order to put the Nine Tails into Naruto, leaving Minato and Naruto alive to continue protecting the village. From that point on, Minato would struggle to complete his Hokage duties in this post-Nine Tails village, as well as struggling to be a father to Naruto and raise him the way that he should, in a way that honors Kushina. However, despite all the resources he has, Minato finds that he simply does not have the time required to be a proper father and a Hokage, and this causes Naruto not only to resent the office of Hokage, but also causes Naruto to resent Minato. It's during the Chunin exams that Minato faces Orochimaru and his Edo Tensei for the first time. He manages to defeat and capture Orochimaru and imprison him. However, as Minato deals with the anger presented by his son due to Minato's limited attention span, Minato begins to wish that he weren't alone, and that he could provide Naruto with the life he deserves. In his weakness, he makes a deal with Orochimaru, freeing him in exchange for Orochimaru resurrecting Kushina via Edo Tensei. Orochimaru agrees, noting the difficulty of it due to her having used the Reaper Death Seal, but upon freeing her soul, they manage to resurrect her. From here, Kushina is actually pretty pissed at Minato for doing this, as well as putting his own desires ahead of the village, saying that it's unlike him to be like this. Eventually, Naruto learns of this and grows even more angry at his father, not only for defiling the member of Kushina by resurrecting her in an abominable body, but also that he betrayed the trust and lives of the shinobi who gave their lives to stop Orochimaru. It's then that Naruto and a group of friends are contacted by Tobi, who claims that they can kill Orochimaru together. Naruto agrees to this plan, and together they track down Orochimaru and kill him. However, Tobi betrays the group and manages to steal the Nine Tails from Naruto. Minato, who's been in hot pursuit, would find his son and beg him not to die, though his effort is in vain. Naruto perishes, leaving Minato truly alone. He enters a depressive and somewhat self-destructive state that only serves to piss off Kushina more, who says he's not acting like the man she married. She leaves him her own Dear John letter and prepares to leave. However, it's later revealed that Minato's behavior may have been under the influence of Danzo's Konohama Tsukami, and he'd been trying to get Minato to destroy himself so he could take his place as Hokage. The plot is discovered, and with the help of the Uchiha, Minato launches a successful revolt, which ends with the death of Danzo and the restoration of Kushina's faith. From there, Minato seeks to get revenge for Naruto and to stop whatever plans the Akatsuki have made. He nearly dies, but upon hearing kind words of encouragement from the soul of his son who wanders purgatory, having never been able to access his true love for his father until now, Minato manages to come back to full power and defeat Obito. To make up for the sins of his past, Obito casts Rinne Tensei and resurrects all those he had killed in the war, including Kushina and Naruto. Minato then retires from the office of Hokage to live his life with the rest of his family in peace. This story is one where I attempted to heavily humanize Minato a lot. I felt that the legendary nature of Minato sometimes distracted from the fact that he was human like the rest of us, so I tried to show a weaker side to him, and in doing so I went a couple steps too far, to which the comments actually reminded me. As I've said before, I appreciate you guys giving me your honest opinions on the videos. It helps me sort of figure out what kind of stories you all like the best. These stories are as much yours as they are mine. Number 8. What if Naruto were the Sage of Six Paths? In this story, I switched around lineage a little bit, in that Hagoromo and Hamada were not the sons of Kaguya, but instead Indra and Ashura. I really wanted to tell a story where Naruto's nature got to take effect on Kaguya at the start. You see, I recall Naruto once stating that there were no redeeming qualities within Kaguya, practically saying that there was nothing within her that which Talk no Jutsu would work on. But I always sort of found that to be BS because I saw Kaguya as a woman who, while selfish, yes, did have love in her heart for people. After all, I can't just understand why she wouldn't kill all of humanity in one fell swoop instead of living among them. She loved the Emperor and she loved her handmaiden. She took no crap from anyone, but she did care. So much so that even after the humans attempted to kill her, she freed them. And so I wanted to tell her story from a point of view that she wasn't evil, but instead just very, very scared. And from there, that would give Naruto something with which to talk no jutsu her with. In this story, Kaguya becomes pregnant with the children of the Emperor of the Land of Ancestors, and everything pretty much happens the same, in that she takes the fruit from the God Tree, and then has the people coming after her cast into the Infinite Moon Dream before freeing them. However, when she gives birth to 2 sons, those sons are not Hagoromo or Hamada, but instead Indra and Ashura. Due to this, Ashura gets a little buff in that he gets his mother's Byakugan. Ashura would be a mama's boy, while Indra continued to work hard just to be recognized by her. He trained every day to impress her and get a little affection, even stating that he tried to do the same things as Ashura, only to be met with not love, but confusion by his mother. This left Indra feeling unloved, and caused him to develop resentment in his heart against his brother. It was not long after that, while he and Ashura were training, Indra took it too far and burned Ashura with fire jutsu, scarring his body. Kaguya would strike Indra and threaten to remove his chakra from him out of rage before attempting to soothe Ashura's wounds. Indra, the threat of being killed by his own mother overwhelming him, runs away during the night, where he heads to the mountain and discovers the God Tree and what it does. Returning back to the castle, he finds his mother has sent out a search party for him. He feigns having been in the house all along, hiding, and Kaguya attempts to comfort him by reminding him that she spoke out of wrath and would not kill him for any reason. She attempts to show him love, but by this point, Indra is not receiving. She takes him to apologize to Ashura, which Indra does. However, Ashura can tell that it's not a real apology, but more of a forced one. He accepts it anyway. The 2 boys grow, and Ashura eventually falls in love with a girl. Indra tells that girl that Kaguya has ordered her to serve the god tree, which Kaguya had not done. This was to get Ashura's love killed. He then warns Ashura that Kaguya sent his fiancée to the tree and says that she's in danger. Ashura would follow Indra to the mountain and discover that the tree is actually the site of human sacrifice, and that his lover has died. Indra blames it all on Kaguya and then attempts to trick Ashura into suicide, but when this fails, he tells Ashura that he needs to get stronger to beat her and sends Ashura off on a journey to get him out of the way. Indra then stages a fake suicide to make it look like Ashura had killed himself alongside his lover for not being accepted by Kaguya, and then presents the bodies to her. She enters a depressive state, but despite all of this, Indra cannot get her to commit suicide either. In the end, Ashura returns with the power of a sage to face Kaguya, only to realize it was Indra all along he would have to fight. Indra partakes in the fruit and develops a Rinnegan, and Kaguya, mortally wounded, offers her chakra to Ashura with her dying breath, allowing Ashura to attain the Tenseigan. Together, the two brothers quarrel, but Ashura comes out on top, defeating Indra, with Indra choosing to give up his life. Ashura then proceeds to spread Ninshu across the world and eventually gives birth to two sons, Hagoromo and Hamura. This video was one of my favorites. From what I recall, it was somewhat controversial at the start due to Indra and Ashura switching places with their fathers, as well as the whole what if Naruto thing actually being Ashura, so perhaps I misnamed it. At this time, it made sense because technically Naruto is Ashura, but if I could go back and do it again, I would have renamed the video to reflect Ashura instead of Naruto, since they are about as distinct as Hashirama Senju is to Naruto. Number 7. What if every member of Team 7 had a tailed beast? In this video, Naruto was not the only Jinchuriki in the village. After a successful rescue of Rin Nohara, she brings the Three Tails Isobu home with her, and during the Third Shinobi World War, Konoha manages to actually capture the Two Tails Matatabi. However, after Kushina's delivery of Naruto is interrupted, the Nine Tails escapes her and goes on a rampage, only to be confronted by Rin and Isobu, as well as Matatabi and the nameless, probably female to keep the theme Shinobi 1. In this battle, however, Kurama displays why he's believed to be the strongest tailed beast of them all and kills both Matatabi and Isobu, as well as their Jinchuriki, before being sealed back into Naruto. This actually weakens Konoha considerably, which threatens a new war. However, time passes and the Two and Three Tails regenerate and are once more captured with the help of the Uchiha clan. The beasts are kept in a habitat until a new group of Jinchuriki are chosen. This leads to Sakura meeting Isobu, who is rather depressed over Rin's death, and eventually managing to befriend him. The same is true of Sasuke, who had always been a cat person anyway. The two are sealed into Sakura and Sasuke, and together they form Beast Squad with Naruto. They train to perfect their powers, but during their month off to train during the Chunin exams, it all goes horribly wrong when Naruto can't control his version 2 cloak and begins to go on a rampage. Isobu, in fear, refuses to allow Sakura to help out for fear she might die. Sasuke faces version 2 Naruto, but is wounded in the battle, causing a collapse of his ribs. Sasuke is left in critical condition after that, with Kakashi's Kamui coming in clutch, sending Kurama to another dimension. Sasuke undergoes intense surgery to fix the damage done, which is successful, though the damage done to his lungs leaves him with chronic breathing issues. During the time they are out, however, the village is attacked by the Sand and Rasa is killed. Gaara escapes and vows revenge against the Leaf. This would eventually lead to a war, and Konoha knows that, so they get back to training Beast Squad, all of which are too afraid to continue. However, Sasuke and Matatabi find Naruto a safe place to train, and together they manage to help Naruto gain complete control over Kurama. Just in time too, because Suna attacks the Leaf. Beast Squad appears and proceeds to protect the village from Gaara and Shukaku. Gaara is spared and peace is restored. For years, it remains as such, and Naruto even becomes Hokage, but good things don't always last. On the day that Itachi's funeral is held, a masked man kidnaps Sarada. Going on a mission to rescue her, they're faced with Obito Uchiha, who's been possessed by Ishiki Otsutsuki. Ishiki manages to defeat Naruto and Sasuke, but Isobu and Sakura utilize Baryon mode and manage to defeat him. This is at the cost of Isobu's life. The good news though, Isobu and Matatabi had a baby. Alright, that last bit there was actually originally meant to be a hilarious way to bring Isobu back into the story. I thought it would be funny to have Sasuke have that realization that it's he who is pregnant and not Sakura, but to be honest, it always did feel like kind of a weird way to end it. But by that time, I felt like giving us a happy ending and decided to throw caution to the wind. So I guess tailed beasts can have babies with each other now. Until a data book debunks it, I will believe that's true forever. Number 6. What if Kushina befriended Kurama? In this story, we get to explore more of Kurama's past. Kurama was a happy-go-lucky tailed beast who loved humanity and wished to share the increase of the land with them, being nicknamed Inari, the god of the harvest, by the people of the ancient land of fire. Kurama was kind and sweet, and even befriended a certain village where a girl named Kana lived. She would be sent to be his maidservant, and he would enjoy the time they spent together so much so that he fell in love with her. He managed to discover a way to take a human-like appearance, and the two would eventually marry. However, tragedy breaks. As Kurama is expecting his first child with Kana, war breaks out, and he feels the need to fight for his village to protect it. He offers up his own chakra to a clan that later becomes known as the Uzumaki, and blesses them with an increased chakra reserve. Kurama is wounded, but he manages to turn the tide of the war. Returning home, however, he finds that his village was wiped out, and his wife and unborn child were killed. In a rage, Kurama takes his true form and eradicates all the villagers that dared stand against them during the war, and proceeds to become a recluse, angry and hateful. Eventually, Madara finds him and uses him against Hashirama Senju during their battle, but is seized and sealed instead of Hashirama's wife. Later, after years pass, a girl named Kushina becomes his Jinchuriki, and despite his hateful and threatening nature, proceeds to visit him every day and spend adequate time with him. Kurama is at first annoyed, but slowly opens up to her, though he keeps his heart closed due to the pain he felt when he lost Kana. However, Kurama discovers that Kushina is the reincarnation of Kana, and then allows his heart to open completely for her. She even undoes the seal in an act of trust, allowing him to manifest in human form around her, to which he goes by the name Inari. Together they study for school, and he keeps her safe from the shinobi who attempt to kidnap her. He, Kushina, and Minato Namikaze form a team under Jiraiya, and they become close, like a family. However, the Second Shinobi World War breaks out, and Team Jiraiya is forced to the front lines, where Kurama, Minato, and Kushina attempt to help with the raid on Amigakure. Team Jiraiya would be sent home to rest, where Konoha falls under attack by shinobi of the village hidden in the sky. Kushina is captured by this group, and both Kurama and Minato have to find her. This leads them to Anchor Vantian and to Shino, who Kurama has a battle with. He manages to defeat Shino and destroy the battle station, while Minato escapes with Kushina. The whole thing comes down and Kurama is trapped by the rubble, but is later rescued by Leaf forces where he recovers. After this, he and Kushina are married and proceed to have a baby, naming it Naruto. But on the day of his birth, Obito comes to take Kurama and uses Naruto as a hostage. Kurama gives himself over in exchange for his son being returned unharmed. For years, Naruto grows, not knowing his father. Kurama would be placed into a 12-year slumber. Naruto and his friends eventually catch up to Obito and go to rescue Kurama, where Naruto meets him for the first time. The Akatsuki are faced by the forces of Konoha while in Amigakure, where they're only successful because of the awakening of Kurama, though Kushina appears to die. Well, that was a fake out. She lives, and everyone lives happily ever after. Probably, until I decide to pick that plotline back up again and ruin a perfectly good ending. This video was also controversial due to the fact that Minato did not end up with Kushina in the end, and that Naruto's father was Kurama. Of course, I didn't expect that to be the reason why. Honestly, while I was writing this, I had Kurama marry Kushina so as to pay a subtle nod to the original draft pitch of Naruto in the form of that one-off story. In that story, Naruto's father was the Nine Tails, and Naruto himself was half-human, half-tailed beast. I was trying to pay homage to that, but a lot of people didn't like that Minato got shafted. I understand why many viewers felt that way though. Kushina just can't not be Minato's wife. It's like making Naruto have black hair, which we've also done in the past. So in conclusion, while it wasn't the most popular choice, I still enjoyed writing this one a lot. Number 5. What if Itachi spared Izumi? This story began the same as they all do surrounding Itachi, with the Uchiha revolt and the massacre of the Uchiha clan. But the difference here was that Itachi allowed Izumi to live. Because of that, Itachi's touch with Sasuke was never really loosened, and he continued to stay close. He would help raise Sasuke, being glad for him when he made friends and when he joined a team, but his porcupine nature kept her at bay. Despite the two living together and acting in a familial way, Sasuke could not be more alone. Eventually though, Sasuke leaves the village to chase down Orochimaru in the hopes that he'll be strong enough to kill Itachi. Izumi, for fear of what might become of Sasuke, begins to search for him, hoping that he'll give up this poisonous dream. Itachi eventually joins in and attempts to stop Sasuke, but this also fails. It's then that Izumi learns that Itachi is sick, and the two spend one night together so as to take a break from their tiring lives. But after, things pick right back up. Pain attacks the village, and Izumi realizes that she's pregnant. The Fourth Shinobi World War begins, and she's left on the sidelines after helping free Itachi's soul from his Edo Tensei. She eventually gives birth to a daughter named Itsumi. This video was one that I enjoyed putting together. I still found it insanely sorrowful because despite the fact that Itachi had a possible life full of happiness, he never did have the chance to enjoy it due to the systems of the world. But it was nice to imagine a world where Itachi could at least have this to make the pain bearable. Number 4. What if Jiraiya became Hokage? I had a really fun time with this one. In this story, Hiruzen feels he needs to step down after his failures in the Third Shinobi World War. But instead of giving the title over to Minato, he goes straight to Jiraiya and asks why it has to be this way. Jiraiya ends up getting shanghaied into the job where he struggles. He manages to keep things afloat though until the Nine-Tails attack. With his brilliant strategies, he manages to limit the damage, but he cannot save Minato and Kushina. Due to this, he adopts Naruto and raises him as a good godfather should. However, he can't stop the Uchiha clan from rising against him. Despite going to talk things out, Fugaku attempts to attack anyway, and this leads to a standoff between Konoha and the Uchiha. They plan to use Shisui's Koro Amatsukami, but Fugaku's own Mangekyo ability is designed to ward off all illusions, so Itachi is forced to go in after his father. Itachi believes he will have to kill Fugaku, but in the end he makes the decision to merely remove Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan to allow Koro Amatsukami to work. This saves the Uchiha clan for the most part, but Fugaku is never the same. He enters a drunken stupor and begins to resent Itachi for blinding him, even becoming abusive to Sasuke. However, when Danzo offers him pilfered Mangekyo Sharingan, Fugaku attempts the coup a second time. However, this is stopped when Itachi and Sasuke face their father. Itachi is killed by Fugaku in vengeance for blinding him, and Fugaku is killed by Sasuke as revenge for killing Itachi. Peace resumes and time passes. Naruto and Hinata had been dating for a while, and it comes to light that Hinata is pregnant with Naruto's child. Naruto certainly gets an earful from Jiraiya, who tells him that he's going to make him take responsibility. Pain attacks the village and is defeated by Naruto, and Naruto trains for the Fourth Shinobi World War. He almost perishes, but his fear of not being around for Hinata and their baby, as well as a little help from the Sage of Six Paths, brings him out of it, and he and Sasuke together manage to stop the infinite Tsukiyomi. Jiraiya would eventually retire from being Hokage, where he'd proceed to live a life worth living with Tsunade. This one was a lot of fun to write. I always enjoy being able to follow Jiraiya. He suffers from chronic lack of confidence, and despite the fact that he thinks he can't do anything right, he still somehow manages to pull it all off. But are we going to stop and talk about Naruto and Hinata? You want to know the truth of it? I did not need to add that in at all, but you know why I did? The drama. I wanted to somehow make Jiraiya's life even more stressful, and what can be more stressful than your teenage godson having a baby out of wedlock with the heiress of the most prestigious clan? I could hear the villagers now asking, did you raise him in a barn? With Jiraiya's lecherous nature, this would have only served as blowback on his child-rearing skills. I really should have leaned more into how the villagers thought about this, but instead I felt the need to shift a lot of that tension to Naruto, which would then allow Naruto to understand Jiraiya better, as both of them have added pressure with the knowledge that they cannot fail or there would be very bad consequences. Still, I thought it felt off to write an element like that into the story, but I thought specifically because it came out of left field that it would be a good twist. I mean, tell me, how many of you guys saw that coming? Number 3. What if Naruto were a Senju? In this story, Naruto ends up living through the Warring States period, where Hashirama Senju, Tobirama, and their family were still young and living. Walking the battlefield, Butsuma discovers a crying child in the center of a bunch of dead bodies. Seeing no parent and pretty adamant that this child was not an Uchiha, he decided to raise it as his own. Naruto grows up beside Hashirama, where the family dynamic of the wartime clan heads was explored, as well as their journeys through the war. Naruto sees firsthand what it's like to grow up on the battlefield, the hopelessness. Hiding in a cave with his brethren, they begin to fear that they would be discovered. Hashirama keeps them safe with wood release, which covers them with camouflage well enough that even the Uchiha can't detect them. They escape and make it back home to rest, but this doesn't last long as the group is then sent back to the front lines where Kawarama is separated from the group and killed in an ambush. He wills his things to his brothers in his dying breath, and despite this fact, none of them have the strength to take anything. Hashirama would speak of how needless Kawarama's death was to his father, which only served to get Hashirama struck. However, Kawarama's death was enough to awaken the Nine-Tails within Naruto, which turned him into a possible weapon of the Senju. They take time to lament their brother and regain their strength before returning to war, where Itama is also then chased into a corner and killed. This is the death that finally destroys Hashirama's strong exterior and exposes the true pain in his heart. Tobirama also grows distressed from this, but becomes angry as opposed to sorrowful. The boy confronts his father, where he manages to put the fear of God into the clan head. Hashirama would eventually befriend Madara and his little brother Sasuke. Hashirama would introduce Naruto to Sasuke, and the two pairs of brothers begin a shaky friendship together that eventually ends where a standoff between Senju and Uchiha takes place. Hashirama and Naruto never give up on Madara and Sasuke, and as the years pass, this is further shown when Hashirama and Madara become the heads of their respective clans. Hashirama continues to pursue peace, but it's only at the end when Naruto meets with Itachi, the Uchiha that killed Itama, and forgives him that peace between the Senju and Uchiha becomes a possibility. Naruto's nearly killed by Izuna, but this does not provoke a Senju retaliation, and in response, Itachi, or was it Sasuke? I forget. Rewatch the episode for me and tell me who it was. Izanagi is used, a Sharingan is sacrificed for the sake of saving Naruto, and through this, peace is restored to the world as Senju and Uchiha form a village together called Konoha that is created to ensure that peace remains in the world. I absolutely love this one. It's no secret that I hoped that either Hashirama, Madara, Indra, or Ashura had won the Narutop 99 poll. There are so many things in the era of the Warring States period that we don't know about, despite it being one of the most interesting periods of Naruto history. I enjoyed being able to explore these characters and their feelings and actions in regards to death, and how a peaceful set of kids had to go against their desires and wage war. I loved telling that story, which is why it's so high on the list. But furthermore, there is a time travel aspect to this story that I never fleshed out. How do you think that Naruto, Sasuke, and Itachi ended up in this time to be adopted? I had written it in such a way that it was supposed to be a form of time travel, but as the story went along, I thought that a long-winded explanation about how they got to this period of time and why they appeared there might have detracted from the story itself, so I simply neglected it. But for anyone who wants to know a behind-the-scenes secret about it, it was time travel based on the souls of Indra and Ashura, hoping to go back and end the wars at the root before it spilled over into the formation of the Hidden Leaf Village. Number 2. What if Naruto were the Ten Tails? In this story, Madara Uchiha discovers not the Nine Tails, but the Ten Tails in his effort to destroy the village. Due to this, Hashirama and Tobirama together fight to defend Konoha, as I wasn't sure Hashirama could do it alone. After defeating Madara and the Ten Tails, they discover that a small child has formed in the husk of the Ten Tails, and it possesses the Rinne Sharingan. Despite the danger it is, Hashirama adopts it, and though he planned to name it Kiko, his wife said, "No, we're naming it Naruto." And so Naruto came to live with the Senju. He was around in the years just after the creation of Konoha. He was a shy child who didn't want to be alone at the academy, but the kind teacher helped him make friends with Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura. They would eventually graduate together and through missions grow closer. However, it wasn't long after that Hashirama was killed in battle, and the sorrow that struck Naruto was enough to cause him to rampage as the Ten Tails, sending a feeling across the world via a weak Tsukiyomi that caused his emotions to be felt by all under the moonlight. This event would later be known as the Wailing, as it was the only point in history where every human being cried at once. With Tobirama's help, Naruto accepted Hashirama's death and recovered. However, he would soon follow Tobirama to war, where he and his team was surrounded by the Kinkaku force. Managing to stop Tobirama from sacrificing himself, Naruto sacrificed himself instead, choosing to fight the Kinkaku force where he killed most of the squad and even took out Ginkaku and Kinkaku before himself perishing. But despite his death as a tailed beast, he would eventually regenerate, which would lead to him being reincarnated later on. This story was one I'd been cooking for a long time, even before the Boruto series partially adapted the idea. My idea was that if sentience could be given to all other 9 beasts, that sentience might also be able to be given to the Ten Tails. I'm certain I'm not the only one who's ever wondered about this, and what made it great was that the story in theory was later validated by Kishimoto himself, as he wrote in that the Kara Nine Tails could attain sentience as well, though the method and outcome of this was slightly different. But let it be known that I predicted that plot twist with my own what if first. Please, hire me as a writer, Kishimoto-san. I promise I won't disappoint. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The all-time best what if to be created in the past year. The first slot and award for Amagi's What If of the Year goes to... What if Sasuke gave Naruto the Sharingan? This story was one of the most emotional and heartfelt stories I've ever had the pleasure of writing. In this story, Naruto is slightly more beaten down by his life as a Jinchuriki and his loneliness from the village. Besides that, Sakura is more attentive. Sasuke further is kinder as well, not seeking vengeance against Itachi, but instead trying to move on. Naruto, after being bullied a bit, ends up being defended by Sasuke and Sakura, the two of which become his first friends. Together, they become Team 7 under Kakashi and proceed to do their work as per usual. But during the Land of Waves mission, Haku's Senbon are about to kill Naruto, and so Sasuke in return gives his life to save Naruto. Sasuke dies in his arms, but as one last farewell gift, he bequeaths one of his Sharingan to Naruto. Naruto keeps it and manages to defeat Haku with it. Naruto never truly comes out of this and is left in a depressive state. Team 7 is left with a hole in it, and in an attempt to help the team cope, Hiruzen assigns his grandson, Konohamaru, to the team, who would be accepted with open arms. Though he can never replace Sasuke, he is as close to them as Sasuke ever was. They would eventually be called away to learn Sage Mode, where Naruto trains with the toads, Sakura trains with the slugs, and Konohamaru trains with the snakes. During his time training with the snakes, Konohamaru is told that the snake sage foresaw his death in a vision where he was attempting to protect Naruto. Konohamaru is terrified, but decides that if it's for Naruto, he wouldn't mind dying to save someone. When they return to the village after this, Pain attacks the village and kills Konohamaru, who is protecting Naruto, fulfilling the prophecy. Naruto awakens not only a Mangekyo Sharingan, but a Rinnegan as well, due to his chakra mixing perfectly with Sasuke's to form Six Paths Chakra. With his Rinnegan, he defeats Pain and even accidentally summons the Geto statue. In one last moment of redemption, Pain restores everyone he killed, including Konohamaru. This whole thing catches the eye of Danzo Shimura, however, who attempts to take Naruto's Rinnegan. Naruto attempts to escape and hides with the Toad Sages until Konohamaru finds him and brings him back to confront Danzo, who has awakened the Geto statue as the Ten Tails. Naruto would do battle with Danzo, eventually managing to defeat him. But before they could celebrate, Obito Uchiha shows up, who explains how he'd been pulling the strings, and how they would see the world he had planned for them. They began to fight, and Obito nearly killed Konohamaru until Naruto stopped it and jumped in the way. He then realized how Sasuke must have felt and why he did it. Naruto seemingly dies, however he awakens and has a heart-to-heart with the long-dead Sasuke, who tells Naruto what he must do. Naruto revives with Six Paths Sage Mode, his Rinnegan active, and a Mangekyo Sharingan in his other eye. He grows close to Obito and manages to seal him away, restoring peace to the world. This video was my all-time favorite What If to write. I enjoyed this story so much, and you can probably tell too, as this is the only What If video to receive 7 full parts. Man, I hope that I get an idea like this again that truly inspires me. This felt like a true once-in-a-lifetime story that I had the pleasure to tell, but you never know, maybe lightning will strike twice. That's why it's important that you keep sending us your wonderful ideas. Anyway, what did you think of this video? Did you agree with the placement of them all? Let me know in the comments below what your top 10 favorite videos were. And if any of you have missed any of the what ifs mentioned here, we'll link them somewhere for you. Be sure to check them out. I promise you won't be disappointed. Anyway, be sure to click that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when we drop more content like this. Until next time, peace.